Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review. And I'm reviewing since my previous review, I reviewed the first Anaconda film, childhood favorite of mine growing up. Love this movie. Also find it a bit underrated because that's still why it gets hated on a lot. So that's part of why I find it underrated. A lot of fun watching this film. Still enjoy this film. Now we'll review the sequel, Anacondas, The Hunt for the Blood Orchid, which this came out 7 years later in the year 2004. And now, Anacondas, or Anaconda 2, but it's Anacondas. Now, this one, I remember, with only this film, Sally, I never got a chance to see this film in the theater, Sally, though, because probably was a bit too young, though, but, yeah, actually I was, though, but, I never got to see this in the theater, sadly, though, but, like I said, watching it at home video rentals on HBO, still enjoying fun watching it. This one, I did actually witness seeing in the theater in the year 2004. I actually saw this with my brother and my dad. And I remember back in the day, that year, I liked it. But watching the film nowadays, I like the film a lot less. I mean, the first film is by far better than this film, by far. This one doesn't even come close to this one. But yeah, so I still think it's an okay film. I can still watch it, but I say it's an alright film. Issues, yeah, but it's not on the same level as the first film is by far. The first film is here. This is down here. But yeah, I still think it's an alright film. I don't love it, but I don't hate it at the same time. And the film is directed by Dwight H. Little, and on the back it covers this as Dwight Little, but it's Dwight H. Little, which he's directed films that He's directed films that I do like. He directed Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers. That's a great sequel in the franchise. He directed his version of the Phantom of the Opera that starred Robert Englund. Then he directed a really good Steven Seagal film called March for Death. That's a really good Steven Seagal film, which I'll have to do sometime though, but later down the road. Rapid Fire with Brendan Lee and Powers Booth. I really enjoy that film. I love Brendan Lee. It's too bad he's now no longer with us. I enjoy Rapid Fire a lot. And then he directed some film, probably some episodes of TV shows, and then he directed this film in 2004, and then 5 years later he directed another film called Tekken, which is a martial arts fighting film that was based on a video game series. And I do like Tekken. Sad that the film flopped, but I do like Tekken. I think that's one of the few films that's, even when films are based on video games, I think it followed the film followed on the video game very well, because it's a simple video game, which I've never played though, but it seems that the video game is a straightforward game because it's just about a tournament like Mortal Kombat though. But I do like Tekken. Not Taken. Tekken. It's Tekken. Tekken. They made a sequel to Tekken, which he didn't direct though, which I have not seen the sequel though. I do like the first one though. But Dwight H. Little, he's directed some films I do like, so. And it's too bad that he haven't directed since, well, I think there's another film though, but Tekken's pretty much, I was basically his last good film that he did, so. And the film came out, like I said, I remember seeing this back in the theater when it came out in August. I do remember it was in August 2004. It was in late August with my brother and my dad. And the film, actually, it did well. It made a lot less money than the first film did. Like the first film made 136 million domestically. This film made about 37 million domestically, and worldwide it made about 70. So the film did not that bad making money though, but it was a lot less than the first film. Um, and the film did get negative reviews. It has a much lower rating on Rotten Tomatoes than the first one has. Like the first one had 38% Rotten Tomatoes, and which I disagree with. But this one I can definitely see why. This one I could definitely understand. This one has a 26 rating on Rotten Tomatoes, so I definitely understand that one. But it's weird that both of these films have the exact same rating on IMDb. Both these films have 4.6. It's very weird how both these films have a 4.6, which the first one I totally disagree with. I give this one much more higher rating though. But this one I do understand though. But definitely disagree on this, but I just find it weird that both these films have the exact same rating on IMDb, 4.6. And of course, like the first one, well, this film didn't earn a whole bunch of Razzies. It only was nominated for one, and that was for worst remake, sequel, or ripoff, though. But it didn't win though. So yeah. That film, the first one was nominated for 6. This one's only nominated for 1. And I thought the cast, for some of the cast, I thought they were not that bad. Like the lead is played by like the lead guy right there is played by John Messner, which he's been in some films. Funny is that he starred in 3 films that starred Bruce Willis. Really enough, he starred in Hostage, Tears of the Sun, and actually the whole 10 yards, really enough. And I like Tears of the Sun. I like Hostage. And then he also starred. There was another film that he starred in. He started in Running Scared. That was the film with not the Peter Hyams film, Running Scared with Billy Crystal, but it was the other one with Paul Walker that he starred in. I actually like that Running Scared film with Paul Walker. May he rest in peace. So yeah. So he's been in quite a few stuff, and the girl, the lead girl technically, KaDee Strickland, she was all right. Her and Johnny Messner, I thought they are both fine. They were not that bad. Your human villain basically is Matthew Marsden, which really he was in Rambo, the 4th Rambo film. He was the guy who was the sniper, which he got a good couple moments. He shot like a sniper as it blew a couple bad soldiers' heads off or shoot one. He shot one bullet and the bullet went like 2 or 3 of them at the same time. So yeah, I did like him in Rambo. I thought he was alright in this film, but he's just nowhere near as a better bad guy than Jon Voight was. Jon Voight was a far better bad guy, which still people make fun of him for that, but I have no idea why. But Matthew Marsden, he was not that bad. He was not bad in the movie though, but he's nowhere near a better bad guy than Jon Voight was. And then Eugene, Byrd, he's like the comic relief like Ice Cube was though, but I don't think he was not horrible, but he was really annoying at times because he speaks too fast in a high pitched voice and he's like freaking out. I know you understand that you're in the middle of the jungle and you feel like you're gonna die, but he's like, oh, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna, talking like that a lot of times, like, oh, that was a snake. Oh, we're gonna die. Talking like that. I mean, doing him, he does it way too much, and that makes his character annoying at times, though. So yeah, the way he talks in the film, that makes his character. I mean, his character. I mean, he was not horrible though, but at the same time, he was getting really annoying. Him just talking like that and speaking, you know. But and then the other character is also no, never mind. I forgot about Morris Chestnut, which he's right there and right there. Morris Chestnut, which I like as an actor as well. I loved him in Under Siege 2, Dark Territory, his partner up with Steven Seagal, you know. And I like Morris Chestnut though, and he was alright in this, which really enough in 2005 he starred in kind of another horror film similar in The Cave, which I have to rewatch that film again because I haven't watched that film in forever. But I do remember him that he lived, but in this film he dies. So, but Morris Chestnut, he's there. Karl Yune, he's the Asian guy who was like Johnny Messner's friend in the film, and I liked him. It's too bad that he died. Which really enough, he's actually the younger brother for actor Rick Yune. Now Rick Yune, if you watched my review of Olympus Has Fallen, he was the bad guy in that film, Rick Yune. So yeah, Karl Yune in this, he's Rick Yune, the bad guy in Olympus Has Fallen. That's his younger brother, Karl Yune. Now, I liked Karl Yune in this, but I did not like his brother in Olympus Has Fallen. He was a not good. He was a horrible bad guy in that film. Rick Yune was not a good bad guy in Olympus Has Fallen. But at least I like Karl Yune in this, and I liked him. But it was too bad that he died, though. And the other, there was two more that came on the expedition. The woman who's basically, I don't know, it's like, I guess like she's kind of like the Jennifer Lopez character though, but I did not care about her. She's like who works because they all work for this company, and she was like, well, she lives though, but I did not care about her character because they're trying to pull like some of these characters like the people like in this film, like get the comic relief, like Eugene Byrd, he's like he's trying to be like the comic relief, like Ice Cube, but Ice Cube is much better. Got to have a human bad guy like John Voight. John Voight is a much better bad guy than Matthew Marsden. Or person who like kind of is doing like a Jennifer Lopez type of character, but Jennifer Lopez is much better. And I thought she really did good in this movie. And the other woman who played her, Sally Richardson. I didn't care about her. And the other guy, who was another guy named the character Ben Nicholas Gonzalez, didn't care about him. But most of the actors in this film, I thought they were fine though. But some of the actors I just didn't care for, like the Sally Richardson character or the Nicholas Gonzalez character. But even the Eugene Byrd, he was annoying at times with his, screaming and talking too fast a lot, though. So that was a problem with his character. But Johnny Messner, KaDee, Strickland, Matthew Marsden, I thought they were fine, though. They were there. So the whole thing is that they are like KaDee, Strickland, Matthew Marsden, Sally Richardson. They're part of this company that they're researchers, and they found that there's this flower called a blood orchid, and it's kind of like the fountain of youth, because in the flowers there are these things that can heal a lot of I guess like damaged cells and regenerate stuff, to make them feel younger. So that's why it's kind of like the fountain. This flower is like the fountain of youth, and it's only in they bloom every 7 years. So this is the right season to go on this expedition to go and to retrieve them, and then getting these flowers will make them rich. Basically, is, and they find a tour person Johnny Messner and his friend Karl Yune, and which he also has this monkey that's with them. So they take this old raggedy boat of his called the Bloody Mary. They head down the stream, and as they're traveling, they get either I think it was KaDee Strickland or was it Sally Richardson that falls in the water, and they get attacked by a crocodile. Johnny Messner kills it, stabs in the head, and as they drive away, something pulls the crocodile from under. Of course, that's the anaconda. Which, really enough, you don't see the anaconda. Well, you see an image of an anaconda because the opening of the film, you see this native person in this country of Byrd. That's where they're heading into. The opening, you see this native person being chased by an anaconda and gets swallowed up, but that's it. But you don't see a full-on screen appearance of an anaconda that comes like a good chunk into the movie. You know, I understand it's like, you know, it's building up because they're traveling and stuff, you know. Nothing has happened yet. Well, it pulled a dead crocodile underwater, but nothing has happened since then. And I thought this is a good looking shot where they go the wrong way. Is that they end up going towards a waterfall, and they had to hold on to something. And I thought it was a good looking shot as they're going over the waterfall. You see the shot as they're falling within the they're still in the boat and they're holding on. Good looking shot. I'll give it that. And even another thing I thought was the location, like the first film at times like. They said it was done on sets though, but they shot at the real on the Amazon location, and it seems like they shot I'm sure it's the location that they're at though, but the jungle settings I thought was good looking to look at. It felt like they were in the jungle, so I'll give credit to Dwight H. Little for atmosphere wise. Looking the jungle wise, I thought it was a good looking shot, and how they go over the waterfall, them inside holding on. That's another good looking shot of them in there. And as as they're getting out of the water, you see a glimpse of an anaconda moving in the water, and they had to find a way to get to the Blood Orchid, which Johnny Messner has another guy on a boat, so they plan to take his boat. And as they're walking to the water, now there's an issue here because in the first film, really good animatronic practical effects of the anacondas, and there was a little bit of CGI, but that didn't bother me because most times they're practical and animatronic. I forgive that, and because they didn't bother me. Here in this film, the anacondas are mostly CGI. And that was part of the film got criticized for on calling it unrealistic CGI, which that I do understand because the snakes in this film were mostly CGI, and most part was not that good though. But I mean, even though there were some that I thought was kind of good because I thought there was they gave it somewhat big practical, which I'll get into. I mean, like the first guy, Ben, he gets dragged under and he gets attacked by the anaconda CGI style though. And then Johnny Messner explains about the anaconda, you know, they're territorial and this and that. If they swallow a person, it'll take them like a couple, more than a few days to, or actually it's way more than a few days for the digest. So that one will be coming after us. And then you see, cut to the other guy, the Johnny Messner's friend on the other boat. He gets attacked by anaconda, but you see him. Well, you see a glimpse of an anaconda going towards him, and even times of a POV shot. And at times he gets attacked, but he mostly gets killed off screen because I know he's being pulled and tugged, and which caused him to make the boat go full throttle and crash. But he's like holding on, which you can't see nothing that's pulling him though. But basically, he gets pulled and basically killed off screen. Basically. So they see the crash, in which they assume that he crashed because they find his bottle and stuff. But later they find his body, which he was swallowed and spit back out. And he explains that Johnny Messner says that it must be mating season because there's more than one anaconda. Because they said that they smell a female in heat, they come from everywhere. And the guy, Eugene Byrd, Cole is his character's name. Was like, oh, so you tell me there's some snake orgy out there in the jungle? And he's like, yeah. And as they're walking along as well, there's a scene where Cole, he has a leech on him, and Johnny Messner burns it off, but he lifts up the back of his shirt. He's like, his back is covered in leeches. And Johnny Messner says, hey, we got a blowtorch. And watch another scene right after that, Morris Chestnut, Karl Yune finds, he just doesn't put his boot back on because there's a spider in it. And it's a spider that if you get bit by the spider, it'll make you paralyzed for 2 days. So, and Matthew Marsden takes it with him. That's like a good specimen. So as they plan to head towards this village, the native village. And as they get to the village, it's deserted. But okay, what I mean by practical, do you see this long? I thought it was a good looking effect where they see this long dead anaconda, and you see native person's legs, like the anaconda's belly has been like it's open though, but the legs are sticking out. The dead person's legs are sticking out. Okay, the practical, it was a good looking effect of this. They made this long dead anaconda, and then there's a person's leg sticking out of the anaconda's belly. Okay, that's a good looking effect. You can see because you can tell because between like they made this dead anaconda, you can see actually real scales and stuff. You know, model effects, good looking. Because most part, like I said, the anacondas from were mostly CGI. And what I forgot about this scene, that is the guy before the guy Ben was pulled into the water. They get this scene right here, which I don't know if that part was practical. Which, if it was CGI, that it completely fooled me because I thought that looked like a practical effect right there. Is that scene? Get that scene right there. If it did, it completely fooled me because I thought that it looked like it was a good practical effect as well. If that was CGI, that was good CGI for that 2 seconds of it. So, but there was some there was a practical effect, like I said. If you get that scene, or they find this long dead anaconda, saying that's the biggest one he's ever seen. Johnny Messner says that. So they decide to just wait there, and they said they're gonna build a raft. So they're gonna build a raft, and Matthew Marsden is talking with Morris Chestnut, and Morris Chestnut said this whole thing is off, and Jack, that's Matthew Marsden's character name is Jack. He says no, so he purposely lets Morris Chestnut gets bit by the spider, and he gets paralyzed. And he's paralyzed. He has nothing to do. He can't do anything. But the woman, the lead woman comes in. She sees the spider bite on him, and she leaves. And then there's Anaconda on the ceiling, picks Morris Chestnut and swallows him whole. And then Jack, they burn the hut down. But as they're doing that, Jack, he gets away in the raft. So they had the plans to cut through the jungle to get because they know he's going after the blood orchid. As they're doing that, they enter in this they get into this cave, and of course, Eugene Byrd, Cole, he drops his flashlight. He's like, "Oh, where's my flashlight?" He gets separated, but Karl Yune comes in and says, "We gotta stick together." And as they're walking, he falls into this hole in the water, and he's trying to find a way back up, but then one of the anacondas comes in and kills him. And that's too bad, because I liked him. So, and then Cole, he freaks out. He catches up with them, but there's an anaconda right behind him. And as they pull him out, okay, there's another. I thought it was a good scene. The lead girl, KaDee Strickland, she takes Johnny Messner's machete and cuts the anaconda's head off. Practical looking. Okay, cool. She cuts an anaconda's head off with a machete. Okay, that's a cool one. But then Cole flapping his gums out. He's like, that's right, you're dead, you know. But then he gets taken by another anaconda because he was flapping his mouth off. He gets taken by another one, and they follow him, and then he's wrapped up in the anaconda. He's about to get swallowed, and you get another good one where Johnny Messner, he throws a knife and kills the anaconda by throwing it right in its head. So okay, he kills one anaconda. He throws a knife in its head, and then one that leads to another. So they catch up and they find Jack. He holds him at gunpoint. They find the blood orchid, but it happens to be where down below there's this mud pit where they find all the anacondas there in one big pile, you know, because the male is going after the female anaconda. So it's like I said, it's a mud bowl or a mating bowl, what they said. So it happens to that pit, the orchids happen to be where that pit is, where the mating pit is. So Jack, Matthew Marsden, is telling KaDee, Strickland, to get the flowers. She does, but she almost falls in. She tries to throw it up to him, and then Johnny Messner tackles him. The pack drops, so he goes down there. He tries to get. Then he gets bit by the spider, and he's starting to get paralyzed. And the backpack of flowers falls in the pit. And so does he. First Johnny Messner, he tries to reach out to him, like, give me your hand. But he's paralyzed and can't move, and he falls into the pit. And so does KaDee Strickland as well. But she manages to get out while Matthew Marsden gets torn apart by a bunch of anacondas. Then one I believe it's the female one, where the Sally Richardson, she throws a gas can at it. Gas spills into the pit. And okay, now this is the one thing where, like I said, Eugene Byrd, Cole, he was annoying with him. It was annoying when he just talking, like flapping his mouth off. But okay, it was a good thing. It was okay. He got one cool thing, that he got the final shot. Shoots a flare gun right into the anaconda's mouth, and it falls in the pit because the gasoline explodes and everything. Like the whole wall topples over. All the flowers are gone. Falls in the pit. So okay, he got the one final shot. Boom! Shoots a flare gun into the anaconda's mouth, causing it to explode into the pit. So one each person got to kill an anaconda. Like Johnny Messner, he killed one by throwing a knife in its head. KaDee Strickland, she cut one anaconda's head off with a machete, and then Eugene Byrd, he gets to kill an anaconda by shooting a flare gun into its mouth with a gasoline. So you got the three characters got to kill one anaconda each. Okay, cool. One with a machete, one with a knife to the head, and then Cole shoots one with a flare gun. And then they ride off into the raft. Oh yeah, and by the way, I forgot about the monkey. You see it's traveling with him throughout the jungle, but it doesn't die, it lives. And it says just riding along the raft down the river. So, yeah, the film, it's an okay film. I can watch it, though, but I won't find it as the love in this film more as this film. This film is still the best. Way better than this one, though. Besides better casting, better effects, better villain, basically. But this film is okay. It's all right. I can still watch it. I can get for the fun parts of it. But it's not as good as the first film, basically. But hey, at least I was glad I saw it. I was glad that I saw it in the theater back in 2004. Well, that's one thing I can say. I'm glad I saw this in the theater. And I remember I liked it a lot back then, but now I like it a lot less because as you get older, you get more wiser. So, but directing wise by Dwight H. But this one was directed by Dwight H. Little. I don't think he didn't do a bad job directing. His earlier films were a lot better, like Halloween 4, Marked for Death, Rapid Fire, even Phantom of the Opera or Tekken. But Dwight H, I thought he did a decent job directing this film. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he did a decent job directing. Because I don't think he's not a bad director. I think because he's directed good films, like I just named some off right there, you know? I wish he would give another chance to direct another film of today. But I don't know what happened to him. Because he did a good job of shooting, like the jungle wise, the look of the jungle. I thought it was good location of shooting, and felt like it was in the jungle. So he directed some good atmosphere to it. So I'll give him that. And like I said, it was a good looking shot where they're from inside the boat as they go over the waterfall. Most of the cast, they were fine. They were there. You know, they were not horrible. Like Johnny Messner, KaDee Strickland, Matthew Marsden. He's nowhere near as good as a bad guy as like Jon Voight was. Sorry. Eugene Byrd as Cole. He was not horrible. He's trying to be the comic relief like Ice Cube was, but Ice Cube was a much better comic relief. And he doesn't die as well, you know. So that's another thing. But with another problem with his character is he was so annoying. Like he was like, "That's right," or "Oh my God, what are we gonna do? You know, we're all gonna die out here." That part was annoying. He was doing way too over the top on that. But I liked Karl Yune. I wish he would have lived. Morris Chestnut, I thought he was there as well. The girl played Gail, Sally Richardson. I didn't care for her. Or same with the guy who played Ben, Nicholas Gonzalez. Effects wise, most of the Anacondas were CG. Some of it was not that good though, but I've seen a lot of worse CGI. So yeah, I can say is the Anaconda, the CGI on the Anacondas were much better than some of the crappy CGI that I've seen as of today. But there were some decent practical effects, like I said, they find this dead long anaconda, very long. It's good model work in. Same with a human leg sticking out, or when like I said, for this scene here, if that was practical, or it was, because if not, it was a good CGI, and that fooled me, I guess. When that scene happened for 2 seconds, I thought it was a practical effect there. If it wasn't, it completely fooled me. When the lead woman, cut off the Anaconda's head with a machete, that was a cool scene and practical effect use wise. How she cut off the head. So at least it was not full on wall to wall CG. So at least they throw in a little bit of realistic practical stuff in there. So I do give it that. Let's see here. It's on for about 97 minutes. Yeah, it's on for 97 minutes. The pacing, it was all right. It was maybe it was a tad bit slow at times though, but I thought it was all right. It wasn't. The film was not. It wasn't boring. You know, it wasn't to me. I didn't find the film boring because, like I said, I still like the film all right, so I didn't find it boring. Well, in fact, it has no relation to the first film, so there's no speak of the first one. They don't mention anything from the first film. But I could definitely see why it has much more lower rating than the first film on Rotten Tomatoes, though. But same time, it's weird that both these films have the same rating on IMDb, 4.6. It's kind of weird. But the rating on this film I can definitely understand, but the rating on IMDb for this film, no, it's way too low. A lot higher. So, I'm trying to think of those. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it, because I'm not going to review the sequels because I don't have them, and plus they were sci-fi channel films, like the number 3, The Offspring, that starred David Hasselhoff, and number 4, Trail of Blood. That, like I said before, it starred Lyndon Ashby, who played Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat, though. But and then, like I said, they did a crossover with Lake Placid, which that starred Robert Englund. But it's sci-fi channel stuff, so they were not that good anyway. Because I saw those, and they were not as good as, well. The sequel was alright though, but it's much better than the sequels in the crossover. So at least this film, at least I'm glad I got to see this in the theater. So while the others were sci-fi channel crap, so that's why I'm not gonna be reviewing the sequels, because I think it'll be, if I did, it's gonna be a waste of my time, and probably I'm glad I don't have them on DVD, because I think it'd be a waste of space. Because the first one was a hit though, but I understand why it spawned a lot of sequels though. But at the same time, if it spawned one sequel, that's fine. But it didn't need to carry on. It didn't need to carry on further, you know. Same with Lake Placid. Lake Placid, now that film didn't need no sequels. I was fine with just one. Okay, I was fine with the sequel to this film though, but it didn't need to carry on. Same with Lake Placid. It kept on carrying on. It just didn't need that sequel. So, but I'm not gonna review 3 and 4. Just be a waste of my time. But Anacondas, The Hunt for the Blood Orchid, okay film. It's, maybe I'll give it a thumbs up, but not 2. But yeah, I'm holding a thumbs up very weakly, because it's not a strong thumbs up like the first film is though. But I'll give it a decent halfway thumbs up for it, because I think it's an alright film. You know, I don't think it's not that bad. I got a few issues though, but I don't think it's not that bad of a film. Because I thought the directing by Dwight H I thought was pretty decent. I think he did a decent job directing it. So that's probably the reason why. And then I said it did fairly well, but it didn't make as much as the first film did. The first film is still the best. Better casting, better effects, better music. But even, I forgot to mention, it has a better tagline, which I forgot to mention in my review of Anaconda. It'll take your breath away. Forgot to mention about that. But I think it's an alright film. If anyone hasn't seen it, go and check it out. If you don't like it, I can definitely understand why. I can definitely understand why people won't like this film. But, and what's funny is also, this has a making on the features. This is a making of. Well, this film has nothing on it. I have no idea why. This film has no HBO making of, but this film has a making of right there. I don't know what happened, but I'll never know. But that's my review for the Anaconda films. This is for, like I said, the best classic. And I think I'd say it's probably worth a look, but if you don't like it, I can definitely understand why. So I'm giving you fair warning. If you don't like it, I understand why. But I think overall, I still think it's an okay film. Not that bad. So that's my review for Anacondas, The Hunt for the Blood Orchid. I still said I'm glad I got to saw this in the theater back in the day, but it's still an alright film. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned on the next movie review. Later.